studio here. You want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello everybody. I'm Eddie, 24 years old, electrician apprentice. You know, also a recovering addict, alcoholic. Um, Luckily, I just made it back. Um, Went through a little rough one just recently.
Right.
So,
Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? Like, how did you get into recovery?
okay, that's a good one. So essentially, man, I think so. It's a long road. So I
Yeah,
mean,
from the
from the
beginning.
beginning. So man, I remember when I was 12 years old, and I always felt different. I was like what, sixth grade, probably, yeah, sixth grade. I always felt different growing up, having like anxiety and just feeling different, not feeling a part of. I always was like different with every people. It was like a chameleon. Like I'd fit in with this group of people, I'll fit in with that group of people, or at least I tried, right? I try to, I was never myself. Um, but anyways, so I always felt different growing up, and then I remember when I was like 12 or 11, and I smoked weed for the first time. Uh, my aunt, well, my uncle, this girl that he was dating, she gave me some weed. She smoked me out, and then I remember feeling good, dude. I remember I ate like a whole thing of brownies, and I felt sick afterwards. But I was like, fuck yeah, this is the stuff right here. And ever since then, I wanted to fucking smoke weed. And so, and that's what I did, man. I started smoking weed at 12 years old. Like, you're a kid, And, but shit, like, just like the environment that I was in, not that it was a bad environment, but my mom was always like working, having to provide for me and my brothers. Um, my dad was never around, so, so, yeah. Um, so she had to, so like, yeah, no one was really around, so I was, old enough to go out in the streets and go have fun, So that's where like I met people and like kids who were older than me who smoked weed. So, shit, those are gonna be my friends now. And that's what happened exactly. Met some kids down the street. Shit, we started smoking weed, and I remember I wanted to finesse money every day as best as I could, dude, to like buy a little fucking 5 sack of Reggie. I remember Reggie, dude. That stress, smoking that stress. But yeah, dude. I remember just wanting to smoke every day, and that's crazy to think about. Like think about where I've been through these last 4 or 5 years. That like it was like early like onset of like alcoholism. Like I wanted that feeling every day. Because when you're a kid, you smoke weed, or you're a teenager or whatever, you smoke weed with your homies or the homegirls or whatever, and like it brings people together. And it's like like a social thing, but I also like getting high. So that was that, and then going to high school, then you start meeting different people, start experimenting with different drugs. Fucking triple C's, fucking damn triple C's. And then like you graduate into fucking coke and fucking all kinds of drugs. Um, and I like doing all that shit, to be honest. And just I never did good throughout all that, man. I remember like high school was whack. It was good and it was whack at the same time. Because if I'm being real, like I was always fat growing up, and so I was always insecure. And so yeah, dude, like I just always felt different. Like always felt like insecure, not good enough, right, for like women or whatever the case is because of the way I look. But I remember like weed and drugs, like when I was high, dude, I never had none of those thoughts ever. I never thought about like, oh, my weight, how I looked, what I got, you know? Like I could just be me and just chill, you know? So like drugs and alcohol, dude, that shit gave me that relief. That relief that I didn't know I wanting, right? Because growing up, well, at our age now, my age now, you know, in recovery, like back then I was missing something, you know? And it's crazy to look back at it now and think about all that shit that you go through. And it was just a byproduct of this disease. And I was like, fuck. But anyways, fast forward, fentanyl hit the streets, dude. But before that, I was doing like the original oxys, you know, A214, A215s, all those shit. Um, you know, the real ones. And then one time we went to the plug's house and he had these blue ones. And we were like, fuck, we got some fake ass pills and fuck this fool and this and that. But anyways, but we tried it, you know. We put it on the foil and it was a wrap, dude. We were like, this shit is way better, way stronger, hits you like this. This shit is fire, you know? And, but it was like, I tried it that one time.
So it was by accident.
Pretty,
You tried it pretty much.
yeah, pretty much.
Like you weren't like, oh, I'm gonna go try fentanyl.
No.
You know, like we didn't even really know.
Oh, no.
Right?
Nah, yeah, I didn't shit. Nobody knew. In 2017, 18, no one knew what fentanyl was, you know?
Right.
And then, so yeah, that's when like the blues first came out. Tried it, loved it. But at that point in my life, I was like 17, 18. At that point in my life, I wasn't really addicted to anything though, you know? Maybe I had addict tendencies or whatever, for sure. I liked anything that made me feel good, but I didn't destroy my life to get it, you know, like I fucking done these last couple of years.
Right.
But after that, it was like, okay, did it once. We were doing it like once a week, you know, because back then they were expensive, man.
Right.
Like 20 bucks a pop. Now they're a fucking $1 on the street. But they were different back then. They were stronger, more deadlier, I think. But anyways, trying it once a week turned into twice a week, you know, fucking to 3 times a week till I started skipping fucking school because I was a fucking, what do you call it again? A double senior?
Oh, a super senior.
Super senior? Something like that.
Yeah, super senior.
Yeah, I was going to like this charter school or whatever. And so I started skipping school, fucking just doing all the wrong things, you know. And at that time, I didn't see anything wrong with it because I was like, you know, I'm just doing what I've always done is get high. And so, yeah, so that, then it just turned into an everyday thing, you know. I wanted, yeah, my fucking, you know, at that time, didn't know it was a disease, but my disease progressed, you know, and pretty rapidly. I tried to hide it the best I could, you know, lied, fucking, man, I lied so much throughout those years, you know, like, because I couldn't face the truth, you know, but I didn't know what the truth was. But I knew that what I was doing wasn't good, and I didn't want anyone else to know that I was fucking smoking pills, you know what I mean? Because we think getting high is so normal nowadays, like, I didn't think anyone was going to be, like, I felt like I looked like a crackhead, you know?
Yeah.
Or whatever, or drug addict. Basically, that's what I was, but I didn't want anyone to think I was a fucking drug addict or whatever. But, so I thought that shit was normal, man, because I just love feeling that, like, that slump you get, you know, and to really, you know, but all I was doing was just trying to take myself and fucking numb myself, you know, from like all the thoughts of like anxiety and still with the um not loving myself and fucking being insecure still, cuz like as I progressed through the years I got fatter, dude. You know, fucking I remember I was wearing like 4X and shit, and I feel like my weight played a lot in like my disease, you know. Um I never really talked about that ever with like anyone outside my sponsor
Right.
because not a sore subject. But it hits home, you know, like because like I said, all my life I grew up, you know, didn't wasn't never bullied. Of course, you know, like when you're like the fat kid, you get like made fun of by your friends and you're laughing with them. But then at the end of the day, I'm like, fuck, like I'm fat, you know, or whatever the case.
Vulnerable.
Yeah, like that's where I was like vulnerable. Yeah, a vulnerable point for me for sure. But you know, um, but anyways, like yeah, dude. So when smoking blues and then it gets really bad, I can't hide it no more, and you know, my mom starts finding out, grandparents, whatever, and at that time I'm smoking like 20 blues a fucking day as best I could, or get whatever, and then it was getting real old real fast, man. 2 years into that addiction, I'm like 19 now at that time. And I went to go see my doctor. And I told my doctor what was going on. And so she gave me a list of like rehab facilities. And I called the first one. It was the Salvation Army, but you had to be 21 to be allowed in. So it's weird, like, and then I called Crossroads. And so, you know, went to Crossroads, you know, went down there, got in, went to fucking Tucson to go to detox. Bro, so there's this place in Tucson called Arc. Have you heard of it?
I've heard things about it.
Yeah, it's this fucking motel that's been converted into a rehab
Right.
facility. And so they have a residential side and they have the detox side. So the detox side is like on the top floor, because there's 2 floors. So it's like on the top floor, and it's fucking caged, so you don't fucking jump off and kill yourself. You know?
Right.
Yeah, it's like caged, and everyone's wearing like these brown suit, like paper suits, and you're in a room with fucking 3 guys. I mean, great air conditioning, you know, for what it's worth. But I mean, everybody's there detoxing, man, from alcohol, from fucking, you know, benzos and
Right.
fucking, you know, heroin, all kinds of shit, opiates. And I remember I didn't sleep for like fucking 4 days, dude, detoxing. I didn't take subs. I didn't know what subs were. So I was like, nah, I'm good on that. So, bro, I was just in there dying.
Right.
Just like not being able to sleep and stuff. And so I did that for like what, like 6, 7 days. Fucking, they drove my ass down to Crossroads, dropped me off. And you know, whenever, and that was like my first like introduction to like recovery, you know. I didn't know what rehab was gonna be like. I thought it was gonna be like a fucking big building with multiple floors and motherfuckers
Right.
like like I don't know, you know, like
I know what you mean. I
you
feel the
like
same thing.
you like some weird shit, you know. But now, man, like I remember like everybody like saying welcome, like you know, you need anything, you hungry, this and that, and I'm right there just like, you know, like who are these people, you know?
Right.
And so yeah, that was in 2019 of August. Um, and then that's when and that's where it started, man. They said here's a big book. I didn't even know what a big book was. These are like, you need a sponsor, you need to progress a step a week. I was like, okay, and then that was like my first introduction.
Nice, man. And so I know that, right? Like you've been introduced to recovery, and you've been in it for the past what, like 3 or 4, almost 4 years.
Yeah, since 2019.
Right. Yeah. And so, what was your what was your first experience like being in the program? Like actually outside of rehab and in sober living, and like just being in the house with a bunch of guys, and like what kind of feelings were you feeling, or what, how was it for you?
You know, I've always said that sober living, when I first got into it, after I got out of rehab, I relapsed.
Right.
Because like that was my first time in recovery. Didn't know about like relapses or this and that. Everyone gave me suggestions, but I wasn't. I still was trying to drive the bus. I was still trying to be the actor. I was like, no, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna do my own thing. I don't want to live with no house with no fucking 10 guys.
Right.
Pay no dumbass rent. Like, I'm going to that free rent, you feel me? Mom's house, you feel me?
Never fail.
For real. Damn, I love my mom. But yeah. But yeah, so I was like, nah, fuck that. I'm gonna do my thing. My thing got me high again. I was like, you know what? But there was a seed planted, when I did 90 days in rehab. So I called up Craig, and him and Drew came down and got me. And it was just like a feeling. What's the word to describe it? It was just like a new feeling, man. It's like, okay, I'm in a new environment in Mesa. Never really been in Mesa, because I lived in South Phoenix all my life.
Right.
Never really been out anywhere. So it was just like a new place, new people. And you were there. You were there. Drew was there. Tyler was there. Fucking Tyler. Oh, just say his whole name.
It's all good.
But Tyler, Cheeseburger, Shazad,
Yeah.
Craig, I forgot those other guys' names.
Daniel was there too.
No, but he left when I got there. But anyways, but yeah, like it was great, man. Like it started off like, you get to the house and you get a contract. You're like, this is what we expect: 4 meetings a week, sponsor, and moving through your steps. I'm like, okay. So when I was in rehab, Craig was my sponsor, but he dropped me. So I had a little bit of experience. Like, okay, I know what I need to do. I need to get a sponsor. I need to move through my steps and just do good. And that's what I did. I followed all the suggestions everybody gave me. I think at that time I was just really open and like just optimistic. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna be open, and I don't want to get high no more. I don't want to continue to fuck up my life, because shit, I didn't have nothing, man, but clothes.
Right.
I sold my fucking game systems. I would sell anything that I could, steal anything I could, manipulate, fucking master manipulate, all that shit. So I was like, I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to go back to the streets, walking around with a broken ankle, still going to go get high, not going to the doctor to address anything, fucking just fucked up,
Yeah.
And killing myself, pretty much. That's what I'm literally doing, is I'm literally killing myself. But I didn't want to do that no more, man. So like I was just in the house being really open, got a sponsor, John, the big Don. Nah. Love you, dude. But yeah, I got John as a sponsor, and it was good. Moving along through my steps decently, I got a job at the Fry's. Remember? Yeah, I got a job at Fry's, and I was doing that deal, and it was cool. And then I get dropped by John, and I was like, damn, like I took my will back again. I started doing what I wanted, started getting, I think Paul had to talk to me a couple times about like my behavior or my actions or whatever, or my inactions. And then I get dropped again, and then that's when I got Nick as a sponsor. And I think I did pretty decent for a while. Craig left, and then Shazad became house manager, and then next thing I know, me and Shazad were the longest guys living there, because you had ended up like relapsing and leaving, and then Tyler moved out, and Drew left, and new guys, and I was there for fucking a whole year, and then Shazad was gonna leave to the new house. He was gonna go. Not even the new house. He was going to go manage Malera.
Right.
And so I was up next because, I had been doing UAs and doing the assistant manager. I became the assistant manager. So when he left, I became manager. And it was good, man. Free rent. Fuck yeah, free rent, dude. You already know. You were a manager. But, yeah, man. Fucking what? Doing the deal. I remember when I got into sober living, I set these goals for myself. I was like, these major goals. I think it was like 4 or 5 major goals. I wanted to finish school. I wanted to get my driver's license. I wanted to get a car and start a career. And dude, I did all those things. I got back enrolled into school. Year later, I graduated, because in the state of Arizona, before you turn 22, you can still get your high school diploma, so I did that. And so that was a good milestone, felt good, got my high school diploma, went to, walked across the stage, you were there, and then Jonah was there, John Rex, Craig, yep, all my buddies. That was a beautiful moment. And then I'm 21 years old. I don't know how to drive. So Craig teaches me how to drive. I remember my second day, dude. He, literally my second day ever driving, it's fucking pouring rain. And he's like, take me to the doctor. So, bro, I'm driving and I barely see anything, and this fool's having me drive, dude. It was so scary. But he taught me how to drive, and I got my license. I think you went with me. Yeah. Yeah, you did. See, dude? Good times back then, dude.
So, I want to steer in the direction. I know that. So, what was your first experience with the 12 steps? Like, what did it do for you? How did it make you feel? Or what did that look like for you? Because I know that for many people, a spiritual experience is like, everybody has their own definition of it, and everybody goes through their own experience. And so, what are your thoughts, or what was your experience with having a spiritual experience with the 12 steps?
I can remember one of my first spiritual experiences with the 12 steps was I remember I was going through like step 2 with Nick, because where it asks you those questions and we agnostics, it's like, I think it's like, if you now believe or are you willing to believe. And every other time with John, with Craig, with Josh, I was like, oh, I believe God. I believe God's here. He's everything, da-da-da. But I didn't know what that really meant at that time. For anybody who's in recovery, to believe in your higher power, to really believe and truly rely and believe that He is everything, it's a big thing, man. And at that time, I just didn't understand. So when I was in step 2, I was just honest. I was like, you know what? I'm willing to believe God will be everything. And that was a start, man. And that's where I started to experience God looking after me. I remember I had my broken ankle and I was out of work and I didn't go without. I was going to meetings. People looked after me. it's just blessings, man. And like God shot moments all the time, and then people pointing at, he's like, bro, that's God, dude, like this and that. I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, damn, that is God, like, that's my higher power working in my life, and also sometimes doing for me what I can't do for myself. So I'm having like all these God shots moments, and then I'm finally starting to believe in my higher power, and pray and meditate. And when I was doing all those things, when I was praying and meditating upon awakenings, nightly reviews, I felt good, man. I felt fucking, I remember I would wake up, first thing I would do would roll off the bed, fucking hit my knees, pray, you know then do my upon awakening and start the day and have a good ass day, man. And when I started actually practicing the principles in my everyday affairs, life was good. I felt more happy, felt more energetic. And when I felt like some negative emotions, I was able to deal with that. Because that's what the steps, help you do, is to like deal with life. Because life is going to happen regardless, life's a bitch sometimes. And I was able to like get through whatever life, threw at me. And it was blessings in itself, and it was a roller coaster. Like I wasn't always in this like a spiritual ass. Wasn't always spiritual. Sometimes you could get like carried away with like life, and you like fall back on your prayer a little bit, and you get like a little irritable, restless, and stuff like that. But like, I'm glad that I was, surrounded by recovery and learning all these things that could, come back from that.
Right. And so, yeah, that's beautiful, man. So I feel, so, and I know that, right, because I know you personally, right, and you've been like in and out these past, right, like the past year or so. And so I wanted to ask you, where do you feel like where do you feel like you went wrong, or what have you learned in the process of being in and out of the program, and knowing that, right, like knowing that this is, right, like this will lead you to a better life, but, right, like,
For sure.
what have you learned from that experience, or where do you think that you slacked or went wrong in, right?
So at 2 years and a half, right? I had 2 years and a half when I moved in, and I stopped doing recovery. I stopped calling my sponsor every day. Well, it starts off with selfishness and self-centeredness, right? That's what the book says. And now, with this, my last couple experiences, relapse, it literally started with that. This fucking book that's written in 30s, 20s, no 30s, something like that, whatever. My bad, But this book and then I'm right here now, like fuck, like this book is the shit. They really talking about some real, like it's real. And so like I stopped being of service. I started to focus more on life instead of recovery, because I became an electrician, and I was doing that thing, and I didn't want a home group no more. I didn't want to like go to meetings all the time. I still did, but I guess my attitude was starting to change, because I stopped praying. And I think that's like where it started. I stopped praying. I stopped meditating every day. That's the maintenance steps, man, and I wasn't taking no maintenance. So I was just getting rusty out there, and then like dealing with house stuff, and I left. And I was like, you know what? I've been in sober living for this long, I think. And then the mental session hit. I was like, maybe I can just smoke weed and, just enjoy my life. Because I was 19, when I got in the program or whatever. So I left and started doing my own thing. Relapse on blues again. it was pretty bad. Psychosis, fucking fucked up, fucked up everything. Um, Thankfully, I didn't burn my life to the ground, but still fucked a lot of shit up. Got sober last year. My sobriety date? My old sobriety date was December 12th, 2022. You know, I got back into Paul's house and I was broken, dude. Like, you guys remember, I was just always fucking, like, sad and depressed, and I didn't know how to trust God. And that's still to this today is something that I struggle with. Um,
Easier said than done.
it's easy for definitely. Um, I didn't know how to let go of the wheel. I didn't want to, you know. I was trying to handle things on my own will, like trying to fix things on my own. Fucking thoughts running all the time. Dude, I cried so much when I made it back. Just cried every fucking day. Um, you know, and then I got better for a little bit, dude. I started doing good, started working, you know. Fast forward, I stopped doing the deal. I stopped praying. You know, I stopped relying on God. And slowly those thoughts come back, you know, excuses. No, maybe I should just move home to save money. This is now I'm kind of struggling right now, whatever. So I left, and what happened? I got high again. And this was what like a month ago? Yeah, pretty much. Month and a half ago, that's when I left. The second day I was home, like the second or third day that I was home, I started doing blues again. Right away. It was last time it took a little while, a couple months. This time it was right away, and the next thing you know, I lose my job. I love that job, man. It was a good thing, and lost my job again. Fucking, it was just going down the wrong path once again, man. And then, thankfully, like, I know that isn't me, you know, like that's not where I want to be, and so thank God for people in the program who are my friends and were willing to help me, you know, got me into sober living, and here I am, my second day sober, doing decent. But yeah, man, to answer your question, I know I prolonged it, but it was my lack of faith in God and my lack in trusting in Him, man. I was talking to Eric yesterday, my sponsor, and I was telling him that I don't know how to give my all. Like, I don't, and I told him if this makes sense, right? So let me know if this makes sense to you. I don't know in this moment what giving my all to God looks like. And then, because I'm like an intricate thinker, you know, like I think like deep, you know. Okay, but and then maybe that's also my problem too, right? Like I'm overthinking it. People say just do it, you know, but like that's just I've been a thinker all my life, man. Like it's just not possible for me not to like think about things. So I just didn't. I was talking to Eric, and I was like, how do I, you know, what does giving my all to God look like? And so we talked and about stuff, but that's definitely, at least for today, I know where I lack is my faith in God, my trust in God, but with 100%. Because I do believe in my higher power and I trust in Him, but there was no consistency. Because that's very important. Consistency is very important with program, because when I first moved into Ashland, when I was doing that consistent everyday prayer meditation in my life was good, and when I don't do it, life gets fucking erratic, you know, restless, irritable, and discontent. And yeah, that's what happened, man, and relapsed.
Thank you, Eddie. So one last thing,
Best advice. My best advice would be, I would say, follow your heart. And like, if you're in the program, follow your heart. Because this is what I do, man. I always follow what my heart says. And I always say what my heart feels. And so I know when I'm doing bad. I know how that feels, right? I know when, or if when I'm lacking, it's like, okay, I'm lacking. I got to do something about this, right? So what does it say? Oh, call your sponsor, get honest, talk to people, you know, just pretty much listen to how you feel and make the right choices and reach out. Because that's really, for me, that's been the biggest importance of reaching out and talking to people about how I truly feel. Like I could talk to you all day, anybody, Craig. And once I talk about those things, I feel better with putting in some action. But yeah, follow your heart and, trust in God. And it really will be okay.
Well, thank you, Eddie. I appreciate you stopping by, man, and appreciate you doing this with me.
Hell yeah, dude.